What is up, my dashing dudes? I am the Hans TV, and welcome back to one of our favorite subreddits on the channel. We're diving back in to r/EntitledParents. Our first post for the day comes from, "Is glitter a color? The louder you scream, the longer you get to watch me eat this cookie." I'm sitting in a doctor's office waiting room while a family member is being seen, headphones in, doodling in a notebook, nibbling on an oversized chocolate chip cookie. A woman and her maybe 3-year-old daughter sit a few seats away from me, and the kid immediately starts screaming, "Cookie!" at the top of her lungs repeatedly. I turn my music up and try to tune it out, until the lady leans over and yanks an earbud out of my ear. I let out a "what the F?" because it caught on my earring and it hurt like hell and surprised me. I just sat through a 5-minute lecture about how I shouldn't use that language in the presence of a child, and how ashamed of myself I should be, and what do I have to say for myself? Meanwhile, the kid is oblivious and still just screaming, "Cookie! Cookie!" I told her that I wouldn't have used the language had she kept her hands off of my property, and not caused me pain by almost ripping my earring out of my skin. "Well, you're going to give my daughter your cookie to make up for being so foul in front of her." And she reaches into my lap to grab my cookie. I push her hand away because the cookie was in a paper bag between my legs, so she was literally grabbing at my no-no area, and tell her she can buy her own dang cookie. And if she reaches for me or my items again, she's getting reported for harassment. The receptionist who's been watching all this finally speaks up and says she's willing to call the police if I'd like, and back up my statement. I don't feel like dealing with that, and it seemed to calm down the mom. So now I'm sitting here listening to my music and taking the smallest bites possible and acting like this is the most amazing thing I've ever eaten while making eye contact with her. She's glaring at me and keeps telling her kid the mean lady won't share her cookie, and I'm going to make them watch me enjoy eating this for as long as possible. Side note, who the hell takes food from a random stranger to give it to their kid? What if this was an edible? What if I had medicine in it? How are people so stupid and irresponsible? So, OP, if you didn't know, Karens will stop at nothing to get anything for their darling little angels, and that means assaulting people and falsifying police reports for them. So, now you know. Our next post comes from Philium96. Karen doesn't want to share a table with me at a busy coffee shop. So yesterday, Sunday, I decided to get up early and go get myself organized. Me, a 23 female, and my partner, 26 male, are in the middle of sorting out our flat, and I needed to pick up some bits from Argo's in the pet store for my cat. My partner was working. I live in a fairly large city near a retail park, and stupidly didn't check the Sunday opening hours for the shops. So I got there about 9:45 a.m., and most of the shops didn't open until 10:30 a.m. So I found a Costa, and decided to have some breakfast and a drink until the shops actually opened. When I got there, the place was pretty dead, and there was only me and 2 other people in there. The table layout was only in groups of 4, so I sat myself down and just played on my phone for a bit. So, as it turns out, there's a little kid's workshop that goes on every Sunday nearby, so whilst I was sitting there, it got busy very fast. Soon, there was nowhere to sit down. I'd nearly finished my drink, but it was still only 10:15 a.m., and as it was freezing, I didn't fancy standing outside until the shop opened. The queue was quite long at this point, with maybe 20 people or so in line. And I noticed a lady, Karen, talking to her husband and looking at me. She was maybe 15th in line. They had a little kid with them, maybe 5 or 6. Karen made a beeline for my table with the little kid in tow. "Excuse me, do you mind moving so we can sit down? You guys are more than welcome to sit with me. I'm just waiting for Argos to open in 10 minutes, and I'll be off then." "No, you need to move. We want this table to ourselves. You're finished with your drink, so it's unfair of you to hog the table." "I'm leaving in literally 10 minutes. I don't want to wait outside in the freezing cold. You're more than welcome to share with me till then. By the time your husband's ordered and got your drinks, I'll have left anyway." Karen, who is now raising her voice at me, "No, you need to move now. I have a kid that needs to sit down and you're being selfish." Her screeching had alerted one of the baristas, who came over and asked if everything was okay. "She has finished her drink and won't move so we can sit down. Tell her she has to leave." I took a pointed sip of my coffee at this point to emphasize I wasn't actually done yet. "Miss, she is still drinking her drink, and she is a paying customer as well. She has a right to sit here. Do you mind sharing your table? I went to say that I already offered, but Karen cut over me. I don't want to share the freaking table with her. She needs to leave. This is a family establishment. I suggest you stop swearing and shouting and either share a table with someone or leave. Fine, I'll leave and I'll tell everyone not to come here. She storms off, grabbing her husband. The barista rolled his eyes at me and went back to the counter. Not even a minute later, a young mother came over and asked if her kid could sit down with me while she ordered drinks. I said yes, and I spent the next 5 minutes playing with the kid, and by the time the young mother came back, I was packing up my bits to go, and they got a nice table to themselves just by being nice. I'll always love the Karen excuse of, I'm a mother, so you must do everything I say. No, dumbass. Being a mother does not grant you any more rights than me. This next post comes from Pokemaster Mason, entitled Mom Calls Police Because Her Son Was Playing D&D. This happened about 2 months ago, and a couple of buddies and I were at a local game store we like to visit, playing a game of D&D with the owner, and the session was going pretty well. We just started Waterdeep Dragon Heist, which is one of my favorite campaigns to play and run. When a guy came in from the looks of it, he looks to be at least in his mid-20s, but we later found out that he was only 17. I don't remember his name, but I remember again with a T, so I'm just going to call him that. He came in and was looking at some trading cards, bashfully walking around us, clearly listening to what was going on. He was busted listening to us when one of the characters died and had some very touching last words, because he said, "Why do you do my N-word like that?" The DM said, "I got some extra character sheets if you want to join." For real, man? Sounds like fun. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to play because my mom's doing some shopping at the Walmart across the street. I get it, man. When your ride decides it's time to go, it's time to go. So we helped to make his character a human fighter, and worked his character in as well as a new character that was unfortunately killed because he walked into a trap in the game. We played with this man for about an hour or two, and his character was incredibly overpowered, just due to the fact that the dice gods happened to favor him that day. His mom comes in and says, "You done shopping?" Then sees her son sitting down with a group of 4 men at a table, and she yelled, "Boy, what do you think you're doing?" "I'm trying out D&D and having a good time." His mom, "Get over here right now. I'm going to call the cops on these pedophiles." Note, the only people over 18, which is the age you are legally classified as an adult, were me and the DM. Me. Lady, the only people over 18 is you, me, and the DM. Neither of us are into that kitty crap. Also, dude was just playing a game, not hurting anyone except a few goblins and a drunken dwarf. His mom, giving 0 Fs about what was going on, picks up the phone and says to the police that her son was being tricked by pedophiles. A single cop shows up and asks what was going on, in which she goes off saying, "We wanted her son sexually and how we were trying to convert him into Satanism." He then asked everyone at the table to show ID and to tell our side of the situation, and even pointed at the security cameras. And after watching the tape, he handcuffed the lady for giving a false police report. As she was being dragged out, she was calling the cops are racist for not arresting all the white folk, and how everyone was going to be hearing from her lawyer. The cop was also black. After the altercation, we continued the game with the kid until his dad came to pick him up. Unfortunately, he hasn't come in since, but man, I would absolutely love to play D&D again with him, because he was funny and good for a new player. Holy crap, OP. You did what everyone thinks to do with Karens and wishes to do with Karens. You actually got a Karen arrested for falsifying a report. Holy crap, man. Our final post for the day comes from Fox RCT. Ah, yes. So having a caffeine allergy means I am a satanic demon that is sinful. Sure, maybe look in the mirror. Holy crap, where do I start? At lunch on Saturday, the 29th of February, I went to the Starbucks I usually go to every Saturday to get lunch. I basically know nearly all the staff, going to conceal their identity except from Jamie, who told me I should post the experience on this subreddit. Cast as the usual characters. From the moment I entered the shop, EM stared at me. No clue why. To be fair, she did have a kid screaming at her. The EM shouts to me, "What are you looking at, young man?" She has the eyes of Carolina, the barista who was on shift. She started giggling a bit. I told EM, "Nothing, I'm just looking at the menu." Carolina and Jamie were close to cracking up with laughter. You could see it in their faces. I wanted to laugh, but I just wanted my god dang decaf. EM shouted at me, "Hurry up, young man, you were holding the stupid queue up." There was literally no one in the queue except this boy who was behind me. Before I could even speak to Jamie about my order, the split second before my words, the entitled mother screamed, "Get him a freaking Americano, you useless sod." She had the eyes of everyone on her. The boy behind me was cracking up, and so was Carolina. Jamie and I kept a straight face. "I'd like a decaf." EM screamed Bloody Mary at me. She was shouting so fast I couldn't understand some of it. Here is some of what I did hear that's appropriate. "You satanic demon, be gone back to your sinful area. Jesus Lord save me from the horrors of him. Christ our Redeemer save his soul." Gary the manager stormed through after hearing the screams. After seeing it was EM, he called mall security to come and take her away. EM's child was crying, and I couldn't stop laughing at EM. Afterwards, I had a good crack with Carolina and Jamie. "So you're saying that the manager took one look at EM and just kicked her out? That means that she's probably done this before, which wouldn't be surprising with how she reacted to you. That's insane." Well, alright, my dashing dudes. That is going to do it for today's episode of r/EntitledParents. I hope you liked the stories, and if you did, I'll link them down in the description below as always. And if you liked the video, feel free to drop a subscribe, a like, and a comment down below what would you like to see me read next. A humongous thank you to everyone who has subscribed in these past few months. I cannot thank y'all enough for growing my channel the way y'all have, and watching my videos as y'all do. It gives me the courage and the ability to be able to come back and do this as much as I do. So just from the bottom of my heart, thank you. But with that being said, I will see you in the next video.